Hello and welcome to this look at the HUD and the Compare tool within Boris Continuum with me, Ben Brownlee from Boris Effects. Now both of these tools are going to be used in interesting ways to speed up our effects creation and to make sure that we're not pushing any effects too far. So let's pop over to the other side and see what we can do with the HUD and with the Compare tool. The Compare tool is a really useful feature of the Continuum effects because it not only allows us to do a quick before and after to see whether we like the effect we're working on, we can also use it to check if we're pushing an effect too far and when we need to sort of bring things back a little bit. So let's take a look at our first clip. And we can see that this clip is a little bit soft. So I'm going to use BCC Magic Sharp. And just apply that to our clip here. And if I come into the OFX, and I'll just use the presets to find my go-to preset here, which is the high threshold sharp edges. And already you can see this is a little bit sharper. If I open up my compare, we can choose how we're going to do the comparison. So we can either do this side by side and then change or slide the area that we're interested in. We can even offset the right-hand side, the after side. In this case, I'll keep the right offset at 0. So now all we need to do is adjust the sharpen to find out where we actually want it. Obviously, we don't want this over sharpened as it is here. I'll push this to around about 28. And if we zoom in and push that over there, you can also see why it would be useful to have the right offset to compensate for that zoom. If we look at our second shot in the color page now, I'll apply a different effect. We can see that compare works in a similar way. So I'm going to come in and use a fast film process on this. And I'll come into my effects browser and I'll find a good starting point for my effect. Probably the cool saturation boost there. Hit apply. And I can turn on the compare mode to actually just say compare. And now here I can use my wipe slider to wipe back and forth. Or if we have the OFX overlay turned on in the viewer, we're able to just grab and drag this bar along. Now I can come in and make any changes that I need to, and we can easily wipe before and after. The nice thing about this is that I can also look at it as a live preview as we're playing through as well. And that's very simply how we can use compare in DaVinci Resolve. We're going to head over and have a look at the Hud Controls now. And by using the Continuum HUD, we're able to control a lot of the work we do directly in the viewer rather than in sliders. So let's take a look at the original shot we have here. And we've got just a simple, straightforward blue screen. Now, because of the way that Resolve handles alpha channels, our keying should be done in the color page. So let's pop over to color. I'll zoom this to fit a little bit. And I add another node here, and I will call this one BCC Primatte. And let's find our BCC Primatte Studio filter and bring this over the top. If I zoom out a little bit, you'll see that I have a UI available to me here. And I can drag that around even as I zoom the viewer in and out a little bit. And we can do most of the things we need to do to get a basic key directly within this overlay. And we'll find our frame that we want to work on. And I'm going to go Auto Analyze. And this looks at my footage and tries to find what's going to be the most suitable keying color. Now, if we take a look and click on Final Matte, we can see that this is looking like a pretty decent key already just with that single click. But I can come in if I have my clean background up and I can just draw over some areas where I think I need a little bit more keyed out. Or if I needed to bring anything else back in, I could just use the clean foreground there. Now, if I look at my matte status, this shows me that I actually need to probably key a little bit more out of the background just to get rid of any sort of small little areas around there. And that's probably going to be just fine. Now, if we look at the final composite, this tells a slightly different story. And that's simply because of the way that Resolve handles alpha channels and OFX. So what I need to do to get this key looking right is just add an alpha output, bring out the alpha for my BCC Primatte node, and then just right click here and say use OFX alpha. Now we'll get the actual key. So we have most of the common tools that you're going to need to create the basic key here. If we did need to do anything a little bit more sort of refinement, say we needed to turn on matte refiner or turn on our secondary spill suppressor, then we can still do that in the OFX settings on the right hand side. If we come back into the edit page, I can do a similar sort of thing directly in here as well. So if I use BCC directional blur on my background and turn that on, if we come down and turn on the OFX overlay in the viewer here, we'll just get a HUD where we can control the basics of this effect. So we can control the blur amount and we can control the blur angle. And depending on what type of effect we're using, we'll have more or fewer controls as are necessary. So in this case, I'm going to come back into the OFX and turn my blend mode over to screen. And at this point, I can still control the blur amount as I need to. So bringing that up there and bringing that over there. And once that's done, we can see our final effect. If at any time we don't want to see the HUD, we can obviously just turn off the Open Effects overlay. And that's our first look at how we use the HUD in Boris Continuum. If you found this video useful, then remember to hit the like button. For more ways to master Boris Continuum Resolve, subscribe to the Boris Effects YouTube channel and check out a range of our other training. If I've missed anything, then please let me know in the comments below. My name is Ben Brownlee from Boris Effects. Thanks for watching.